What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy, the Ultimate Rage, coming back with yet another live here in the No Cap Zone, where we have a strict dress code. Now get the hell off with that capping ass nonsense. The only kind of cap that we allow around these parts is your thinking cap. Otherwise, you got to move around, okay? Because around these parts, all we care about are the facts, the truth, the data, the information, the statistics. You know, things that can actually be demonstrated in real life. You know, kind of like in real time. Like while we're actually alive, while we're sane, of sound mind, because otherwise I literally have no idea what these goofies out here are talking about. And to tell you the truth, they don't know what the hell they're talking about, which is why we gotta be the ones to talk about it. So let's talk about it. So before we begin, as always, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn notifications on, hit that follow, share everywhere, hit that offthe9.com, hit that offthe9.com. The link is available in the description. What's up, Harley? What up? What's good? And if you got any problem with anything I have to say, you should be able to call in. You should be able to call in. Hit the link right here so we can talk. And if you got an issue, we can maybe perhaps get to the bottom of it. Otherwise, keep your goofy ass somewhere the hell over there and shut the hell up. 'Cause I don't care. Alright, so anyway. So as we always talk about every single day, what exactly are we doing, guys? What are we doing? I ask this every day because it seems like nobody else seems to really think about giving a fuck about asking this question, so I'm gonna ask it. What exactly are we doing, guys, as a human race? What are we doing? As American citizens, what the fuck are we doing? As human beings, as conscious beings, as earthlings, what exactly are we trying to do? If we said, hey guys, our ultimate goal is X, what the hell is that X? Because it seems like to me we don't have one. It seems like there's no real clear, concrete focus, no clear plan, no clear goal, no clear aim. We're just a nation filled to the brim of people running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Basically. That's why I say America is what I call the scam capital, the capital of the world, the divided states of corporations. Because ultimately, we are not united at all. What do we unite over? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We can't even agree on the best hamburger in the country. How the hell are we going to be United States? We don't unite over nothing but the damn Super Bowl. That's like once a year. And we don't even be united on that. So what are we talking about, guys? What in the hell are we talking about? What do we mean by United States? And what is the goal of the United States? Other than being bitch-ass simps for the rich, the banks, the corporations, and the churches all day. Because I don't get it. All this talk about freedom and, tranquility and peace and all these buzzwords that people like to throw out there, but I'm still at a loss for what the hell these goofies out here are actually talking about. That's why I always call into question everything that I see. That's why I question every ideology. I question both major parties. I question these sci-fi fantasy fan clubs every single day, because at the end of the day, they all seem to be working in their own best interest for their own respective agendas, and their agendas don't really appear to have anything to do with actually helping to improve our lives. They're not helping us improve the state of society. If anything, they're worsening and worsening and worsening by the day, to the point where we can't even have these conversations. We can't even ask these questions. We can't even pester these people to see what the hell they're doing and why they think this is the best way to go about doing things. See, at the end of the day, America's become what I call a hyper-capitalist, plutocratic, oligarchical, conquistocratic, kleptocratic, gerontocratic, theocratic, idiocratic, craziocratic, mediocratic, techno-feudalist corporatocracy. A nation, just in plain English, let me make that clear for you. Let me break it down for you in plain English, okay? We have become a country that's run by a bunch of old-ass, rich-ass, goofy-ass, crazy-ass, conniving-ass, thieving-ass, unqualified-ass, imbecilic-ass, freaking corrupt-ass Jesus freaks who don't really know much about shit but being bitch-ass simps for the rich, the banks, the corporations, and the churches, and giving us bullshit excuses as to why being subpar, why being mediocre is totally schmotally fine. This is totally the best we can do. See, we can only make gradual change. We can't be too extreme with the change. And by what we mean by too extreme, we mean we can't be too extreme in terms of helping your ass the fuck out, but in terms of helping corporations, and helping these rich people, and helping those that already have the means, that already have the money, especially when it comes to the churches. No, we have to help them as much as possible. We have to give them any and every form of resource that's possible. They have to extract every single thing from us. They have to take everything from us, because without us, they ain't shit. But then they got the nerve to devalue us, even though they need us. I mean, think about it. Every single election, who they begging for money? Us. When they're selling their products and services, who are they selling them to? Us. Kind of sounds like they really truly need us, yet they don't value us. So what does that mean? It means that we are in an abusive relationship. And when you're in an abusive relationship, one of two things has to happen. Either the abuser has to stop being an abuser, or this shit is not gonna continue. This shit is untenable. We might need to move apart. We might need to move apart. Because what is the point of this relationship if it's not improving our quality of life? If it's not improving the state of our society? If it's not helping us to improve the quality of our social fabric, such that we become a country where we can work together interdependently with synergy towards reaching some kind of clear goal. And it seems like we can't do that because too many fucking people are crazy as hell. So that's why I'm so rude, that's why I'm so crass, that's why I'm so abrasive, that's why I don't give a fuck if you get mad. You want to get mad? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, oh my God, I don't care. Get mad, but then come with some facts. Because this is what social media is supposed to be all about. These are the kinds of conversations we need to be having on a constant basis every day. There is no reason why we have all this technology, all these capabilities, and we're not using it to the best of our ability to have the most substantive conversations and debates and what have you every day. Otherwise, what is the point? I'm still trying to figure out what the point is. Because all these people out here seem like all they want to do is talk all day. They just want to say a bunch of goofy ass dumb shit, a bunch of nonsensical They like to talk in emotion. They like to talk in code. They like to talk in woo. They like to talk in happy-go-lucky deepadies. They like to sound so deep because they use a bunch of very weird terms, and they like to talk like this to make it seem like what they're saying is really super compelling and super substantive, even though there's a bunch of nothing. They just throw out words like quantum love and entanglement and all this type of stuff when they don't really have an understanding of physics or an understanding of quantum entanglement. And some goofy ass dumbasses who don't understand any of this shit, they fall for it so easily because, hey, it sounds cool, it sounds nice, it sounds like a bunch of hibbity-bibbity-bibbity, so I'm gonna roll with that. That's why this is a craziocracy. It doesn't take much to convince people of bullshit, but it is so hard to convince people of things that not only exist, but have strong evidence for them because the people are retarded. That's why I say it. People are out of their fucking minds. They say a whole bunch of gibbity-bibbity-boobity, but then when you actually put them to the fucking test, all of a sudden, they start acting all crazy, start getting all mad, start getting out of character, start getting offensive, saying things like, oh, well, you're just fat. you're just this, you're just that, you're gonna go to hell, and all that type of stuff. I don't understand it. Because ultimately, what is the point? If you don't like that I didn't vote for your favorite party or your favorite candidate, so fucking what? What the hell is your favorite party or your favorite candidate gonna do besides the same constant failure they've been doing for the last several decades? We're gonna vote Democrat, we're gonna vote Republican, and then what? That's gonna accomplish what? That's gonna help us how? Because every single time you hoe-ass goofies get in the office, y'all do the same fuck shit. And not only do y'all do all kinds of fuck shit, but y'all make it so difficult for us to even point it out because that's how ashamed you are and how much miserable failures you are. That's why I exist. That's why I do what I do. So I can point it out to you. So I can show you to your face how full of shit you are and have been this entire time. So that we can hold all your feet to the fire. So that you can actually demonstrate to us that you have value. That your party, your view, your worldview, your sci-fi fantasy ideology, your sci-fi fantasy fan club has any actual value, that they actually contribute to society. That's why I do what I do. And if you got a problem with it, show me how you're so great. Show me how your ideology is so wonderful and so amazing, and why I and everybody else needs to subscribe to it. Because as far as I'm concerned, all these ridiculous ideologies, these parties, these political parties, these religious ideologies, they're just a bunch of garbage. A bunch of fucking trash. A bunch of revenue extraction mechanisms. Hyper-efficient resource extraction mechanisms from us, from our communities, from our society, so that they can continue hoarding everything and telling us, giving us every bullshit excuse as to why they can't help us improve our quality of life. I've mentioned this before. We got an $800 million motherfucking new library here in Chicago. What the fuck is that gonna do? You mean to tell me, out of all the things that we could use in Chicago, that was the best use of $800 million that they could think of? A fucking library. Oh, it's got some basketball courts, and it's got some tennis courts and some shit like that. Okay, that's cool. I'm not saying that that's not useful at all. But I mean, we got a bunch of loonies out here who need mental health help right now. And they're not getting it right now. They're out on the street, they're out on the train, they're out on the bus, tarding out right now as we speak. On a Friday, the July the 31st of 2026. Motherfuckers tarding out, and the best thing you can think of for $800 million is the fucking library. The fuck is a tard gonna do at the library? Hey, newsflash, tards typically don't go to libraries. They don't put the library to use. They don't put the library to use. They're out here ranting and raving about the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ coming back. They're out here tweaking out on some kind of illicit substance. Or maybe illegal substance. Maybe they're alkies, right? And that's freely available. Bunch of tweakers out here tweaking on whatever kind of substance and or psychological disorder or disorders that they may have. But we don't have any real infrastructure to get these people the help that they need. Wonder why that is. So that's why I do what I do and say what I say. Because if this is the best that these loonies can do, then what is the fucking purpose of it? See, that's why I'm such an anti-theist. That's why I'm such an, not just an atheist, but an anti-theist. See, not all atheists are anti-religion. There are some people who are atheists and they just want to live life and they just don't give a fuck about shit. There's a bunch of nihilistic goofies or whatever. They just want to be atheists and leave me out of it, right? But I'm not just an atheist. I'm an anti-theist. I am against theism. Because as far as I'm concerned, theism is politics. Politics is theism. It's all the same. It's a whole bunch of worshiping loonies who don't deserve it. Worshiping parties or being a part of a worship group that's not worth being a part of it. Hell, even the concept of worship in and of itself isn't worth it. What the hell is the point of worshiping shit? It's the modern age and people are still out here giving their loyalty to fuckery, to entities, to cults of personality who don't deserve it at all. Whether we're talking about in the church, whether we're talking about in the political spectrum. And I don't care, right? I'm not one of these like, oh, I'm with this or that party. I am not with any of the two major parties, okay? I am strictly a person with the fucking brain who can clearly see objectively that the system that we have in place is inherently corrupt. There is no any kind of fucking reformation that we're gonna do. We're not gonna fucking participate in it, keep voting for these fuckers, or keep trying to run people and think that they're gonna change it from the inside. People have been trying that for fucking decades, and what do we see? They assimilate, they acclimate, they become a part of the system. They fucking become, when in Rome, they act like Romans. So there is no, oh, we're gonna change it from the inside. I mean, we saw it with Elizabeth Warren. I've showed this to people on a constant basis. People like her, when it's not election time, oh, they're super rah-rah, lefty, lefty, lefty. But when it comes down to business, they about the business. They ain't got a whole lot to say about corporations. They ain't got a whole lot to say about the elites that are constantly keeping their thumb over us and keeping us trapped in poverty and trapped in mediocrity and trapped under the thumb of corporations. All that shit goes away and they fall in line like all the rest of them. So then what changes? Nothing. So how do we expect to change a system that is inherently unchangeable? We're talking about a system that was built on slavery, that still practices slavery to this day. And in fact, not only do they still practice slavery, but it is slavery for profit, aka the prison industrial complex, or put simply, just the industrial complex as a whole. All these fucking different industries that are fucking milking us for everything that we have so that they can hoard all the resources, so that they can fucking give us a substandard experience of living, give us very little, if any, safety nets, and treat us like we're like a second thought instead of like the main core of how everything works. See, I'm sorry, Harley. I honestly get sick of that talk. I get sick of that talk. The system is shit. I keep asking people, how the hell do you think we got to this point? How do you think we got to this point? You think that everything was super duper hunky dory, everything was super duper perfect, and all of a sudden it just went to shit? No, it was shit the whole time. It was lipstick on the pig the whole time. It's just that we finally got a pig looking motherfucker that everybody seems to fucking hate. And look, I get the hate. He's well deserving of a lot of it. But one thing I can't understand is how people completely ignore the bullshit that has been happening prior to all that shit. In every administration, Democrat, Republican, or Democrat. How do you think we got here? If Obama had done such an amazing, wonderfully splendid job, then how could we possibly get somebody like a Trump? Okay, and how are there people out here who totally schmotally love Trump? But then, okay, fuck Trump. How about the Kamala lovers? Who the fuck are these Kamala loving goofies out here? Okay, there is a video, I've showed it, in fact, it might be still on my IG, where motherfuckers went to the DNC and they actually asked all these people who fucking love Kamala what the hell they love about Kamala. What was their favorite policy of Kamala's that they thought was so wonderful, and only one person out of so many could name a single policy she even stood for. Okay, and that's not the end of it. On here, well, not here, when I was on TikTok, after the election, after all the bullshit I went through getting suspended because I said I was going to vote for Jill Stein, okay, telling the world that Kamala was going to get her ass kicked, right? I had a Kamala Harris fan coming on to my show asking me why I'm such a Trump supporter, even though I am neither a Democrat nor a Republican. I'm a lefty, but I am not a Democrat or a Republican because I see them both as the problem. Had a Kamala Harris fanboy, a young cat too, Kamala Harris fanboy, come onto my show asking me why I'm such a fucking Trump fan, why I'm this, why I'm that, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him the same question that I told y'all about in the video. Hey, my dude, okay, you love Kamala so much. Tell me which of her policies was the best policy that you thought was, oh my God, so amazing that we should have voted for her. And the kid couldn't name a single fucking thing. Couldn't name one single thing. And that, my friends, is a microcosm of the totality of American political discourse. It is a goddamn piece of shit shame. It is a shit show of a bunch of party loyalist motherfuckers who don't know what the hell they're talking about, who are just fighting for their party. They're not fighting for any real fucking goal other than some specific political goal, but in terms of the grand scheme of things, they don't have a clear focus. It's either some lefty bullshit or some righty super righty Christian crap. At the end of the day, it's all a bunch of tart talk. That's why I do what I do, because I'm not with any of this fucking voting for. Your vote doesn't matter. What you think you're voting for doesn't matter. I know all these people like to talk about, oh my God, your vote totally schmotally matters, but again, how the hell do you think we got here? You didn't vote for half the shit that happens. during Democrats or Republican administrations. All you voted for was the who and which party. That's it. You have zero impact on their agenda. You have zero impact on what they're going to actually do unless you actually use your leverage to hold their feet to the fire, to actually force them to do the things that you need them to do, which you don't do because you're a bunch of retards out here. Bunch of goofies out here talking like you're such political wonks, but don't know what the hell you're fucking talking about. Don't have any clear goals. Don't have any clear aims. That's why I'm on here every single day asking y'all, what the hell are we doing? What exactly are we doing? What is the goal? What is the aim? Because people don't have a goal. People don't have an aim. They're just caught up in the midst of the algorithm. They're caught up in the midst of the fucking the news cycle, and they don't have any clear understanding of the actual totality of the system. All they're doing is reinforcing the same broken system. The system that keeps cutting NASA's budget, increasing the military budget, fucking trying to raise the retirement age, refusing to raise the minimum wage federally, right? It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. That's why I'm so rude. That's why I don't care what any of y'all have to say. Hit me from Democrat, hit me from the right. I don't care. Say whatever you want. I speak the truth. If you have anything of value to say, if you have any substance to add to the conversation, bring it on. Because I'm tired of this goofy shit that I'm seeing every single day by all these clowns out here that want to act like they're so intelligent, like they're so smart, like they know everything about the political system, like their position, like their viewpoint is just so rock solid, and they're so smug about the shit, and yet they don't know shit. They engage in the same bullshit talk. They engage in the same bullshit behavior. At the end of the day, they're going to fall in line like every fucking body else. I don't even know why they talk so fucking tough. Do you know how hard it is to actually tell the actual truth and be unbiased about it and not just to be on one side of the aisle, but to say, no, all of y'all can fucking get it. Left, right, Democrat, Republican, I don't give a fuck. If anything, I talk about the Democrats much more because I've already conceded that the right wing is crazy as hell. They're out of their fucking minds. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. They have no clear goal of anything other than being sci-fi fantasy weirdos who don't know shit about fuck. That's why I don't even acknowledge them. Because I know that they can't be reasoned with. The people that I thought I could reason with, people on the left, no, they turn out to be even more retarded than anybody else. Because they think they're so smart. Because they tend to be more educated. But all they demonstrate is that they're educated buffoons. At least the right, as crazy as they can be, they be marching in lockstep. That's how they fucking got the Trump. All these goofies fell in line. But y'all are like fucking, you lefties are like fucking trying to herd cats. Because y'all have all these different agendas that y'all want to push for, but y'all don't have any clear overall focus. Like any other group, it's just some vague kind of like lefty, kind of like we want equal rights and all kinds of stuff. But there's no clear overarching goal. Like, what's the end goal? What's the end goal? If there is an end goal, then why is it so difficult to extract it from you fucking fucks? It should be clear. It should be obvious. It should be so obvious that we don't have to ask about it every single election cycle. It should be one clear goal. All the fucking party members should be on this fucking goal that they're pushing for, that all the people can say, yeah, that should be the goal that we're all pushing for. Sign me up right now. That's why Democrats lose to Republicans all the fucking time. Because at the end of the day, all they have is, oh no, Trump. We're not Trump. Hey, vote for me so we can beat Trump. Hey, support me so we can beat Trump. Hey, you should donate to my campaign. I want to get 4,500 donations so we can beat Trump. But they don't tell you why they want to beat Trump. What beating Trump actually means. How them beating Trump actually leads to something. I'm going to read this. I read this like a couple days ago, but I'm going to read it again because I want to explain to you. I want to explain to Democrat voters. I want to explain to people who maybe are into politics or haven't gotten into politics and just maybe want to start getting into politics, this is the bullshit, the game that they always love to play. So, first of all, I used to be a Democrat. Because I used to be a Democrat, and not just a Democrat like a Democrat voter, but I was actually active as an activist. Like, I actually used to fucking be in the streets and fucking work on campaigns and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, little shit. So, unfortunately, as a result of that, I'm still on their fucking mailing lists and phone lists and call lists, so I still get emails, I still get text messages from these fuckers, even though I tell them stop fucking texting me, emailing. I already know they're not gonna stop doing that, because they're gonna try to fucking use every fucking tactic that they're gonna possibly use, because they're full of shit, but that's what they're gonna do, alright? So, I got this text, random ass text from a random ass number that's supposedly from Hakeem Jeffries. And I'm gonna read this text to you to show you just how full of shit these fuckers tend to be. So check it out. It's Hakeem Jeffries. Donald Trump. That's the first thing out of his fucking mouth. After it's Hakeem Jeffries, the very first thing, Donald Trump. I mean, you can't, I would say you can't write it, except he did, because I got the fucking text. But I mean, like, they can't keep this dude's name out their fucking mouth. And then they wonder why they lose so fucking much all the time. Donald Trump just called for my impeachment. What a complete joke. Here's my response to the dumbest president ever to occupy the White House. Pipe down. I'm asking you to have my back right now and help me prove that I'm not going anywhere. I'm calling for a historic surge of Democratic support. 4,500 donations in the next 24 hours to make Trump's worst nightmare a reality. A Democratic House that will stop him at every turn and end his reign of terror on the American people. Will you have my back and rush a donation in this monumental moment to make Trump's attack completely backfire and hand him the crushing blow he so desperately deserves? Donald Trump is pathetic. He can see the writing on the wall. Poll after poll shows Democrats in the lead for the House. He's terrified of what's coming. So he's attacking my credibility as the Democratic leader. He just can't get me out of his head. Looking like Wimby out there. Allow me to repeat myself. Yeah, this is a long ass text, I'm telling you. Allow me to repeat myself for the president, who is clearly suffering from Jeffrey's derangement syndrome. Do not come for me unless I send for you. I know that if we band together, we will destroy Trump's unhinged and corrupt trifecta. This is our moment to make our voices heard louder than ever before. I'm asking you to rush a donation to send Trump and his Republicans an unmistakable message. Start packing. If we can rush 4,500 donations in the next 24 hours, Trump's majority will be as good as over. Will you step up? Keep the faith, Hakeem. Yeah. So, the reason why I highlight this text message is to highlight the fact that in this long ass text message, all I got out of it is that he wants me to be one of 4,500 donations in the next 24 hours so that he can send Trump a massive defeat in the House of some sort. The only problem is he didn't tell me what that defeating Trump in the House actually means. Okay, let's say if I donate to you and I'm one of the 4,500, that you actually deliver Trump this massive blow, this massive defeat. What the fuck does that mean? You're gonna send him in a defeat to do what? To accomplish what? To push for what? So that you can attempt to draw legislation that what exactly? You taking over the House is gonna help me. How? I send you the donation that you wanted of me, and that's going to lead to exactly what for the American people. And see, this is how dumbass Americans get manipulated all the time. It's like a smooth talking dude to some goofy chick. He ain't even offer you nothing. He didn't even say nothing all that smooth. He just said, yeah, help me so I can look better than that guy over there. Yeah, just make me look good. Dance with me so I can look like I'm the cool guy with the hot chick. And then he can look at me and be jealous. And you're just going to be a dumbass pawn for their game because what? I don't get it. See, this is where the American people has to stop playing these goofy-ass partisan games. This is where the American people have to recognize this is a waste of time, all these stupid-ass debates. We got to take a step back and look at what we actually are doing and what we are actually attempting to do. What is our focus? What is the ultimate prize here? At the end of it all, what are we hoping to accomplish? Let's say Democrat, Republican, whatever party. Let's say they just went outright and they're just the future party for forever. And they just get to accomplish their ultimate goal. What is their ultimate goal? What is the ultimate goal for Republicans? What is the ultimate goal of Democrats? What are they trying to do? And my thing is, they don't have a clear goal. And people who support either party also don't have a clear goal. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And a lot of these people, not all of them, but a lot of them, tend to be religious in some way. But a lot of these goofies also tend to be atheists as well. So it's not even just, a lot of loony religious people. It's a bunch of goofy atheists as well. I talk to them all the time. Fucking dumbasses that think, if we just vote Democrat, it can't be no worse than the one that we just had. How the fuck do you know that? See, this is the problem. People who vote Democrat are so fucking uninformed of the problems that occur on their side. And I know because I talk to these people every day. Okay, even people in my own community will say just say these retarded ass things like, I would rather be under Obama than Trump any day. Because they remember that things appear to be better, even though they don't be knowing half the things that Obama did. In fact, most Democrats don't, which is why they fucking love him so goddamn much. And it sickens me, because there's so many things that occurred under Obama, all kinds of Orwellian-ass garbage, that even if you tell these loonies this shit, they don't care. Even though if Trump did these things, oh my God, it would be the worst thing in the world. How can Trump ever do it? How can Trump ever do it? On some Trump derangement syndrome ass shit. It's so crazy to see what people on the left will put up with when it's their party doing it. But when the right wing is doing it, it's fascism. It's insane. The superdelegate situation in and of itself is about as Orwellian could get. And these motherfuckers just act like this shit is normal as fuck. I mean, you can't get any more corrupt than superdelegates. All the superdelegates are literally the elites of the party. They get to have the final say in everything. But no, that's totally fine. Yeah, who cares what we, the people, care about? Yeah, of course the Electoral College should be able to overrule the popular vote, and so they should get the last say. But people are so inept when it comes to their own political system and how unrepresentative it actually is, that it's actually disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And because people have no idea how to use their leverage, how to use their ability to hold their representatives accountable, they never do. They never hold their representatives accountable. They never say, hey, I'm not voting Democrat unless y'all actually push for some kind of health care, some real health care plan. No, Democrat voters don't ever do that shit. They fall for the same old hook, line, and sinker line of, gradual progress. We gotta be very, very intricate with the progress. We can't make too much progress too fast. We have to just be super duper slow and gradual. Meanwhile, let's give hundreds of trillions of dollars to banks and corporations all fucking day. We can give you immediate progress right now. Let's give you all the progress you need. Hey, what subsidies you need? Matter of fact, how about let's give you some no-bid contracts? Nobody can even bid on the contracts. You just get the contract because you get to make the money so that you can fucking make that money, and then you can guarantee me a job after I'm done in office. This is a fucking joke, and I'm sick of this shit. That's why I'm sick of this partisan garbage. I'm sick of this, oh, I vote Democrat, all that. Like, what makes you any different from any other lemming? You do the same exact shit, hoping for a different result, rinse and repeat, and for what? For what? For what? So you can lose Roe v. Wade? So that you can bomb synagogues and fucking goddamn Turkey or some shit? In Libya or some shit? Like, what are we doing, fam? That's why I don't get what y'all are actually out here fighting for, promoting. Like, what exactly are y'all even pushing for? That's why I asked, what are y'all doing? How about that? Let me ask y'all, what the fuck are you doing? Motherfuckers always want to ask me, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? But I'm asking, what the fuck are you doing? What are y'all? Y'all vote Democrat, y'all vote Republican, you donate to Republican and Democrat causes for what? For what? So that we can continue falling on the Global Peace Index, so that we can continue having suboptimal conditions in all these different areas, having less than stellar education, having spending the most on healthcare yet not getting the best healthcare outcomes, all these crazy high inflationary prices, so that corporations can make record profit after record profit, yet we don't get record settings for our fucking metrics. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? I just don't understand it. So anywho, so I wanted to talk about the main story of the day. The main story of the day. All right. This is one story that shows you why we're 85 seconds to midnight, how these fuckers are out here failing hard as hell. Let me show you this amazing fucking story. I just found this out right before the live. And I just love it. See, stuff like this is the reason why I am clearly an anti-theist. Because if theism was correct, these kind of stories wouldn't happen. So check it out. Former Gateway Church members appealed dismissal of financial fraud suit against the church. Notice the date and time. This was yesterday at 3:02 p.m. Central Standard Time by Penelope Rivera for Kara News, whatever the fuck that is. But check this out. Former Gateway Church members are asking an appellate court to reverse a previous decision dismissing their financial fraud lawsuit against the megachurch. According to recent court records, attorneys for those church members requested a motion to appeal July 17th in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit Court filing show. The federal suit accused Gateway, former founding pastor Robert Morris, and former senior pastor Steve Doolin of mishandling up to $15 million in church donations or tithes. Just as we were confident that the trial court would dismiss the case because courts of law have no business adjudicating matters of the church and church business, we're equally confident that the Court of Appeals would do the same, Bill Matasia, an attorney for Morris, said in an email to Kara News Thursday. Okay. So, check this out, okay? So I want y'all to keep in mind what... Matter of fact, let's read it again. Let's read it again. This first part right here. Just as we were confident that the trial court would dismiss the case because courts of law have no business adjudicating matters of the church and church business. Time the fuck out, guys. See, this is how arrogant these sci-fi fantasy fan club members are. They literally just said, courts of law have no business adjudicating matters of the church and church business. Let me show you Exhibit A. Oh, you see this? It's called the fucking Constitution of the United States of America. Don't know if you ever heard of it, but yeah, it exists. By the way, hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on notifications, all that type of shit. So there's this thing called the First Amendment. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's like the First Amendment to the Constitution, detailing some of our most important rights. And I'd like you to see this this section of it called the very first fucking thing it says. All right, and see me, I don't like to just say shit. I like to show you, right, what it says in the actual Constitution of the United States of America, okay? So this is what it says. This is the first thing it says. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. That's the first thing it says. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. So where's this religious freedom bullshit coming from? Oh, I guess because the next section right after it says, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. But see, here's the problem with that. Okay? See, at best, those two things cancel out. At best, either we can't respect religion or we can't prohibit their free exercise thereof. But because we have these things called laws, we literally inhibit their free exercise of their fucking bullshit. Because we don't just give them carte blanche freedom to do whatever the hell they want. Because, see, if we did, then they would be raping kids at a hyper extreme rate than they already do. Okay? It would be all day, every day, in our face all the time. Matter of fact, they'd probably be promoting all kinds of CSAM material. Because, I mean, they do it already all the time, but that's neither here nor there. But, let's get back to the story real quick, because we gonna touch on that. Trust me, pause. We gonna touch on that like the kids they like to touch. So, anywho, of course, Karen News reached out to attorneys for the church members and Gateway and will update the story with any response. The suit was filed in October 2024 by a group of church members claiming Morris and Doolin told congregants 15% of its $100 million annual church revenue would be distributed to global missions and Jewish ministry partners. The former church members claimed that wasn't true and don't know where their donations went. Now, I'm just going to say this. If you're any one of these people, you should slap yourself. You should slap yourself. Because if you don't know by now that theism, particularly Christianity, is the greatest, longest running sci-fi fantasy MLM scam in the history of humanity, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I ask every day on here, what does the church actually do? What do they actually accomplish? How do they actually truly positively impact the world? What metrics can we use that signals that they're doing a great job, that they're having a profoundly positive impact, and that they deserve all of the funding that they constantly get from you tards that keep believing this crap? This is why I ask y'all, where's the Lord? Where exactly is the Lord? See, here's the problem. You're giving your money to an institution, a church. A church is no different from a fucking business. Matter of fact, it is a business. It is business. It is probably the greatest business of all time because they have a complete, almost no costs. Other than the building and the electricity and all that type of shit, they hardly have any other costs. All they need is you fucks to keep paying their bills for them and they can stay in operation. But what does it actually lead to? What does it actually accomplish? See, if there was the Lord, if the Lord was real, first of all, the Lord would not need a building. Let's just say that part. If the Lord was real, you wouldn't need a fucking building. For what? Why the hell would the creator of the entire reality, of the entire cosmos, of the entire universe, multiverse, omniverse, simulation, whatever the fuck it is, this reality thing, why would the creator of that need a fucking building? For what? Why would it need a building? And then also, why would it need your constant worship? I mean, like, it's basically you're normalizing psycho behavior. You're normalizing narcissism and making it like a virtue. You're gonna worship a narcissist. That is literally the worst possible thing you can do. That's how people get manipulated, abused, scammed, ripped off, all that shit. Raped. Because you want to trust loonies that did nothing to earn it, that did nothing to deserve it, other than talk like a this, so that they can sound really deep, so that you can get manipulated by some loony that doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He can just say, God told me, God told me, God told me, and your dumb ass gonna listen. If God was real, why would it need to tell him? Why wouldn't it just tell your ass? Why couldn't it just tell you? And not only that, for those of you who think it does tell you, why does it tell you different from all these other loonies who think it tells them stuff? And why the hell can't y'all get on the same page? Why is it that this is happening? That you got members of a church suing the church for fucking fraud, when the church itself is a fraud? You just so stupid, you got fooled like everybody else. That's why I left, because I realized I had been fooled. That's why I'm no longer a theist. Because I realized this is the greatest racket ever. They literally sell a product slash service that doesn't even exist. They tell you that you're basically paying for salvation by giving your heart, your mind, your soul, and of course your money for some reward that you may receive after you die, perhaps. And they don't ever need to be fact-checked because you're so crazy you're willing to accept it at face value. That's the greatest scam of all time. I could just tell you, yeah, you're gonna go to a place where there's super duper rainbows and freaking Skittles and lamb chops and lollipops and yeah, it's totally gonna be schmolly perfect. And you're such a fucking child that you're like, yeah, that sounds great. That makes me feel comfortable inside. Well, newsflash, there's no evidence that such a place exists. And even if there was, how would we find out? How could we possibly find out? And how do we know that your ass is going there? How? Where? With what? Using what mechanism? What way? What place? How can you have a place that exists but doesn't exist in real life? See, a lot of these loonies like to say things like, oh, it's outside the space of time. But how do you know there's an outside the space of time? And then not only that, let's just say for the sake of argument there is an outside the space of time. Where outside the space of time is the sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit? I'm not giving these loonies the opportunity to fucking try to fucking play these games. This is where the science comes in at. If you're gonna sit here and make these claims about reality, you have to show us right now. And I don't give a fuck what any of y'all have to say. I don't care if you get mad. I don't care if you get sad. I don't care. You can be all in my comments saying all this talk ass garbage. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, where is it? Where is the Lord? Where is the supernatural, super intelligence thing that you're so obsessed with? If it's so fucking wonderful and so fucking great, why can't you show us right now? Why are you suing the church? You the one that gave up your stupid ass money. For what? So that these fucking loonies can have it. That's what. You think that you're serving some super duper cosmic purpose. Hogwash. It's a fucking scam. And I can fucking tell you that right now. Theism is the greatest scam ever. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't push for anything. It's a whole bunch of talky fucking vague, ambiguous talk. It's just a bunch of fucking antisocial, psychopathy, motherfuckers experiencing all kinds of psychological disorders that were undiagnosed at the time because psychology didn't exist. Motherfuckers were seeing people having epileptic seizures. They didn't know what the hell was going on. They thought that motherfuckers was being possessed by the demons, being possessed by the devil, being possessed by some evil spirit. No, it's just called epilepsy. We just didn't know because we didn't have the scientific method as advanced as it is in the modern age. So I get it. At the time, they needed some kind of like ideology or something to try to make sense of the world. But see, now we're in the modern age. This isn't 1242 AD. This isn't 1563 BC anymore. It is now 2026 AD. We have the internet. We got fucking cell phones, we got social media, we got all these different platforms. So now that we have this all at our fingertips, we need to be using it to the best of our ability to figure out what exactly we're doing and why. So when these people come together and feel like their idea is to serve the Lord and they're gonna fucking donate all their money to this random ass church so that they can serve the Lord, and they don't realize, hey, there's no Lord anywhere. There's no actual fucking like supernatural super intelligence anywhere that they can actually demonstrate right now, that they can actually tap into right now. Because if it actually did exist, it would have been able to tell them, yeah, hey, don't give these loonies your fucking money. It's a scam. It's a scam. It is a scam. It is the worst scam of all scams. You talked about 15% of $100 million. Fam, even let's look back at it. Even if they did the 15% of its 100 million annual church revenue distributed to global missions and Jewish ministry partners, what the fuck does that mean? What does that accomplish? If they did do it, if they were spending the money the way that they were supposed to, what would that mean? What global missions would they be doing that would be so amazing that we're like, wow, that's awesome? I don't see them curing a single disease. I don't see them innovating a single new fucking piece of technology that somehow transforms our lives in any tangible, meaningful way. I don't see them stopping child rape because they constantly get caught for it every single fucking day. And we're going to go into some of them stories very soon here. So what do they actually do? What do they actually do? But see, here's the worst part. Here's the worst part. Let's get to it. But a federal judge in June agreed with Gateway and Morris's argument that courts cannot involve themselves in church matters or how they spend tithes. The megachurch had pointed to the ecclesiastical abstention doctrine, a legal rule stemming from the First Amendment protecting religious institutions from government interference. That is crazy. That is crazy. So now, I never heard of this, so I want to look this shit up. America's Ecclesiastical Abstention Doctrine. The following civil doctrine applies to all religious institutions in America, from the Sikh to the Jehovah's Witnesses, and the term church is used in the broader sense of a religious institution. The ecclesiastical abstention doctrine is implicated when the civil secular court tells the church we should not and will not tell the church what to do with itself. This is good news for the church and bad news for the former leader who sues it. Even excommunicated church members may demand a civil court order their congregation to restore their position in the church. The Supreme Court of the United States summed up the centuries-old doctrine in 1976 when it held the constitutional mandate that civil courts are bound to accept the decisions of the highest judicatories of a religious judicatories of a religious organization of hierarchical polity on matters of discipline, faith, internal organization, or ecclesiastical rule, custom, or law. This doctrine does not apply to secular matters alleging a violation of civil law, so long as the dispute arises from civil rather than ecclesiastical law. The court grounded its decision in the First and Fourth Amendments to the Constitution. There may be an exception for churches that the court deems are not hierarchical. In Watson versus Jones, the United States Supreme Court described hierarchical churches as a large organization with multiple levels of authority and tribunals to judge congregations' disputes. The smaller self-regulating churches were simply congregational. At least one state has taken this distinction to mean that courts may inquire further into congregational churches' disputes than into hierarchical churches. All right. So I have mixed feelings about that, because that sounds like that in and of itself violates the First Amendment. That sounds like law respecting an establishment of religion. Like, that literally, that's the first thing the Constitution says not to do, and this seems like this is something that does exactly that. So that sounds unconstitutional. But tell that to these fucking loonies. They don't give a shit about this fucking Constitution thing here. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Whatever. But anywho, the long and short of it is, theism is the greatest scam of all time. And so, because America is the scam capital of the world, the greatest scam of all time, theism, gets to reign supreme. And the law has decided they are not going to tell the greatest scam of all time how they should be able to conduct themselves, as long as they're not violating civil matters. Until they do. And then all of a sudden, now they're making these laws to say, actually, you need to... Isn't that crazy? But the long and short of it is, if you're fucking getting involved in the greatest scam of all time, what could you have hoped to accomplish by that? When they don't have a clear goal. But anyway, let's get back to the article real quick. It's not a whole lot left. Morris praised the church's decision at the time and maintained tithes were never mishandled, according to a statement provided by Matea. I want to be absolutely clear that during my 24 years as senior pastor of Gateway Church, tithe monies were faithfully and properly stewarded, and not $1 was misdirected, not by me and not by Gateway, Morris's statement read. Morris stepped down as lead pastor of Gateway in June 2024 after Cindy Clemenshire made statements Morris sexually abused her in the 1980s when she was 12 and he was 22. I told you we was gonna get there. I told your ass we was gonna get there. And yeah. In this story we was gonna get there, because see, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm fucking talking about. This is what the greatest scam of all time has to deal with. Because what is a scam without some allegation of sexual assault? What is a scam without hyper amounts of sexual assault accusations, arrests, charges, indictments, trials, convictions, sentences? I mean, come on, fam. I mean, it literally says right here, he pleaded guilty last October to 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts to a child. Morris was required to serve 6 months of a 10-year sentence in an Oklahoma jail where the abuse took place. He was released at the end of March, is a registered sex offender in Texas, and required to pay Clemenshire $270,000. Like, fam. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. This is what America's become. We've become a nation that has enriched, enabled, and empowered a bunch of sex offenders. That's why we talk about these stories, because these stories happen every fucking day. They never fucking stop. I mean, this story's been an ongoing story. I mean, they told you this. He stepped down in 2024, 2 years ago. Okay, so this is some shit that already happened, but it just so happens that it's like, oh shit, like, by the way, scam on top of it, even though duh. Duh! Like, oh, by the way, the wind blows here in Chicago. I don't know if you know that. The wind blows here in Chicago. The sky is blue also. The sun is pretty fucking hot. Yeah, it's pretty super duper hot, so I hear. Right? Particularly during the summertime. It gets really, really hot. Yeah, obvious things that you should already know by now. Because I don't understand how this is getting lost on everybody when all this data information news is available every single day. I mean, we cover these things all the fucking time. These things don't stop. They don't ever fucking stop, and yet they just keep happening and happening and happening. That's why we keep seeing these crazy stories. Such as this one that I'm about to show you right now. Check it out. This is according to the AZ Mirror. High Court says churches, not judges, define a confession when it comes to reporting child abuse. Look at the date. That was just yesterday by Jared McDonald Evoy, or however you pronounce that. Advocates warn the broad ruling lets predators use a confessional loophole to escape justice. Who would have ever thought? Who could have ever fucking possibly thought? Who would have ever thought? Oh, the church likes to create loopholes for predators. Then we wonder why all this predation occurs in America. How could this happen? How could all these things happen? Why can't they release the Epstein files? Because this is what the country is. Why do you think theism, particularly Christianity, gets so much protection? Why do you think it is the greatest mind fuck of all time? Because they've convinced all these super duper Christy Christians to defend the rapiest culture of all time. And also convinced them to shut their brains off so that they don't look this stuff up, so that they don't talk about this stuff, so that they don't work together, so that they can, who knows, perhaps figure out how to solve this shit so it doesn't happen in the future. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fucking crazy, but I don't know. I'm just a crazy guy who doesn't want to see children get harmed. But anywho, whoops. So, let's look at the article. The Arizona Supreme Court, I mean, think about the juxtaposition of this. Think about the juxtaposition of this. If you are religious, I can't understand how you can defend this shit. The Arizona Supreme Court sided with religious leaders this week who argued the state's clergy penitent privilege law shielded them from reporting child sexual abuse to authorities. You see what I'm saying? You see what the fuck I'm saying? That's the same fucking law. That's the same law we were just talking about. That fucking, what was that shit? The exclusion shit. Let me pull it back up. The ecclesiastical abstention. Yeah, see, this is what happens when you allow ecclesiastical abstention. You get churches that say, hey, like, we should not have any changes to Arizona law aimed at forcing clergy to report abuse. Yeah, they're going to say that that would violate the First Amendment, and that's so sick. That's so sick, because the first thing the First Amendment says, literally, is Congress shall make no law. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Let me show you again. Let me show you again. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. That's the first thing Amendment 1 says. That's the first thing it says. This is why you gotta hold it up. Because this is what it's all about. Why do you think I talk about it so much? Despite the fact that it's gonna get my views dropped, the fucking algorithm's gonna shut me down. They forced me off of TikTok for talking about this very thing. Because this is what America is. That's why all these people on the Democrats, on the Republicans, left and right, doesn't matter. They all love to talk about, oh, the other party is so wicked because they engage in this behavior. And look at the Epstein files. But even in the Epstein files, both major parties were represented. Both major parties were represented. So I don't understand how these goofies, these loonies are out here talking with this holier than thou attitude, because regardless of which of the two major parties that they were a part of, almost all of these fools are some kind of religious, typically Christian. And this is what they fight for. These are the things that they fight for. This is what you can see the clergy, the leadership in the church. This is the shit that they fight for. This is what they're passionate about. Healthcare, fucking ending poverty, ending homelessness. Yeah, like women's rights. Those are things they don't give a fuck about. Matter of fact, they might be totally diametrically opposed to half them shits. But protecting their right to rape? Oh yeah, they're gonna be all on the front lines of that shit. They're gonna be fighting for their First Amendment rights to protect their right to rape. That's what this fucking ecclesiastical extension is all about. This ecclesiastical abstention. Protecting their right to rape. All of that, oh, the government doesn't have the right to say what they can or can't do, means they get to fucking provide loopholes for rapists so that they don't get caught for rape. For the rapes that they commit, so that they can get it off their chest without actually having to report it to law enforcement, so that they can, escape the law, when they violate civil law, right? Like that's what I thought this shit was supposed to be, right? Because doesn't it say, like, this doctrine does not apply to secular matters alleging a violation of civil law so long as the dispute arises from civil rather than ecclesiastical law. The court grounded its decision in the First and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. It's so crazy how motherfuckers could just make up how they fucking interpret law. And that's just how it is. Even though there's explicit language that's so clear, and I show you, it says don't respect religion, and yet they're respecting religion. They're literally using the fucking the document to say that it says what it doesn't say. Like, it's literally sickening to me. So, yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about, y'all. This is why I talk about it. This is why I'm on the front lines about it. Because at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. And y'all love to pretend like, no, that's not what it's about. But this is what it's all about. That's why it happens at such a high level. That's why they're willing to spend billions of dollars in restitution. Because they would rather be able to continue to rape rather than actually stop rape and put their resources toward stopping rape. They have the resources available. They definitely have the manpower available. I mean, you got 2.4 billion Christians alone in the world. Some 200 million here in America. And yet, not one seems to be able to figure out how to stop this kind of behavior from happening. And figure out why the church is fighting to protect this very type of behavior. Like, it's absolutely, like, unreal that this is the life that we experience on a regular basis. So let's get back to this article. The Arizona Supreme Court sided with religious leaders this week who argued the state's clergy penitent privilege law shielded them from reporting child sexual abuse to authorities. And in declaring that any intervention by the courts would violate the First Amendment, the justices made clear they don't think any changes to Arizona law aimed at forcing clergy to report abuse would be constitutional. That's sick! That it would be unconstitutional to report rapists. It would violate the First Amendment to report rapists. We hold that the First Amendment generally prohibits fact finders from inquiring into a clergy member's application of his particular religious doctrine and determining whether reporting should be withheld if reasonable and necessary. Vice Chief Justice John R. Lopez IV wrote in the court's unanimous opinion, the First Amendment requires courts to exercise substantial deference to a religious institution's own doctrinal conception of confession or confidential communication. That's sick. That's legalese for, hey, the church should be able to rape kids to their heart's content, and the government shouldn't have anything to do or say about it. The church should be allowed to engage in that behavior. If internally they admit, yeah, I raped a child, they should be able to keep down the raps and shouldn't have to report it to anybody, because of course we know that the church is so trustworthy when it comes to reporting fucking weirdos among their fucking congregation, right? That's why they're always so forthcoming with information. That's why they're so openly and honestly, constantly ensuring that they're protecting it's their children that are getting hurt the most, which is why it blows my fucking mind. They care more about unborn children than their own children. They have no problem allowing all their own children in their communities to get raped and assaulted by their leaders. They have no problem. But they get mad at me for pointing out to them, hey, these weirdos are attacking your kids in your communities, in your fucking house and all that shit. It says here, advocates for abused children said they were disappointed in the ruling. The protection of children is paramount, said Angela Walker, the executive director of the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, and should take precedence over church doctrine. The fact that you have to have an organization called that, the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, because they rape so fucking much that motherfuckers have to create an organization against these fucking rapists. Because look at the rape. Look at the rapists. They're the ones that come out on top in situations like this. This is par for the course. And then you wonder why I get so mad. Because where's the Lord? If the Lord is so wonderful and amazing, where the fuck is it? And explain why it allows this shit to happen constantly in its congregation, among its own people. It fails to protect its own people, its own children from its own other people, its own children. It fails to protect its own children from its other adult children. Because it's a fucking failure. That's called negligence. Typically, if you are a parent, right, of a family, you're a parent in a family of children, right? You got children whose ages range from adult to pre-adolescent, right? And you are aware that your adult children are raping your younger children, and you just don't do shit. And it comes to light, yeah, you knew the whole time and you ain't do nothing. You ain't even try to stop it. Yeah, that would make you negligent. That would mean that you shouldn't be a fucking parent. You're unfit. You're a piece of shit. And you therefore should not be allowed to raise children in any capacity. You need to be in a fucking, some kind of correctional facility, perhaps. You need some kind of parenting classes so that you can understand. You need a psych eval. You need a psychological evaluation to determine whether or not you're even competent in any tangible, meaningful way, even though it's clear you're not, because no sane person just allows their children to be raped, right? Especially knowingly, right? And this is why I say that we're all retarded. because there's microplastics and forever chemicals crossing our blood-brain barriers on a constant basis. Not to mention people walking around with all kinds of psychological disorders and substance abuses that are going untreated, undiagnosed, and there's hardly any infrastructure to meaningfully impact these people's lives. And the people who are constantly getting in the position are constantly failing to meet these people's needs. They don't even talk about it. The super duper lefties that vote Democrat all day, where are they? Where are they talking about the mental health crisis and how their fucking representatives need to be steady on the front lines of trying to ensure that they get these fucking loonies out here the help that they fucking need so they can not be as loony? This is the type of shit I'm on, right? Where they say, we do not want predators to be able to use this confessional loophole to escape justice. While we respect the court's decision, we believe that the safety of these children must be protected, especially since this predator videoed these images and put them online. See me, I don't respect the court's decision. In fact, fuck the court. Fuck the garbage-ass court for literally spitting on the fucking Constitution that it claims to uphold. Talking about something, oh yeah, it would totally violate the First Amendment. Get the fuck out of here. The very first thing the First Amendment says is Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, and all you fuckers do is make laws respecting religious establishments all the fucking time. Y'all give them so much fucking respect, y'all respect them more than the actual fucking citizens of the goddamn country. Y'all don't give a single shit about our fucking laws. Y'all don't give a shit about our fucking rights. Y'all trample all over our rights all the fucking time. Y'all will shoot us down like dogs in the middle of the fucking street despite our supposedly Fifth Amendment rights, right? Like despite the fact that we're supposed to have, freedom of not being deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. These government fucks, the police, law enforcement, intelligence agencies, they don't give a fuck about that shit. They will kill us right now and won't hold court for fucking 20 years because it don't matter to them. But, let you fucking steal from a precious corporation, let you steal from a store, and you're the worst person in the fucking world. So no, I don't respect the court's decision. It literally says, the first thing in the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. I've never seen that enforced. I never see that enforced. All I see is deference and deference and deference and deference and deference and deference and deference to religious institutions. The greatest scam of all fucking time. That's why I am so fucking rude. That's why I'm so crass. That's why I'm so direct. That's why I will say straight up, this is the greatest scam of all time. This is fucking bullshit, and I am sick of this crap. That's why I hold their feet to the fire. That's why I don't give a fuck if you get mad at me or not. I don't care. You want to be mad? Be mad. But you got to deal with the reality that this is the type of sickening bullshit that I don't stand for, and I need you to understand why I stand against you if this is the type of shit you stand for. Because you claiming that you support this bullshit. You support this behavior. You support this type of fucking fuckery in the church. You support the church that allows this fuckery. That means that you're complicit if you're fucking empowering them, if you're enriching them, if you're a part of them. That means that's what you're basically endorsing it, because I don't see you fighting against it. I don't see you holding their feet to the fire. I don't see you holding them accountable if you're a fucking religious fuck. It says right here, in Arizona, clergy are not mandated reporters, and suspected child abuse or neglect isn't exempted from that, even if it is ongoing. And religious leaders cannot be forced to testify in court about abuse a parishioner confessed to committing. The case, Doe v. the Corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, revolved around how Paul Adams disclosed to church leaders that he had sexually abused all 6 of his children for years. Adams, a Customs and Border Patrol officer in Bisbee, was arrested in 2017 after he posted videos of himself abusing his children online, because of course these sickening sickos can't help themselves. They have to make it public. They're fucking weirdos. Adams confessed the abuse in 2010 to his bishop, John Herod, who in turn called a church abuse helpline, which told him he should not mention the abuse to any authorities. The case was featured prominently in an Associated Press investigation that found the helpline, created by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, often steered those reporting abuse away from legal authorities and instead to attorneys representing the church in order to cover up to cover up abuse allegations. How do y'all stand for this shit? How do y'all support this shit? How do you sit here standing against me because I'm such an atheist and anti-theist and have the fucking nerve to argue with me against this shit? And then you have the nerve to try to fucking make excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse for this shit. Even though these stories happen all the fucking time. Every fucking day damn near. I mean, we cover these stories all the time. It doesn't take any fucking work for us to find these stories. That's why I love showing y'all the most recent stories, because they are always going to be recent. Because they happen every fucking day. They constantly happen. They will never stop happening because they constantly happen and happen and happen. And so that's why I'm asking y'all, where's the Lord? Where's the Lord? Where's the Lord? Where is the Lord? Where exactly is the Lord? I'm still trying to figure out where the Lord is. Where exactly is the Lord? Because how are these stories constantly happening? Look at this story from around my way. I mean, kinda. It's in the state of Illinois. What's good, famo? What's happening? You know what's happening. You know what the fuck it is. The same old shit that's always happening. Children getting raped, and these fucking weirdos somehow acting like they don't know. Springfield Diocese sued over, guess what? Involving a former Taylorville priest. I love you, the bitch, you're a fucking guest, by Molly Sweeney. Oh, look at that. Posted 2 days ago. 2 days ago. It says here, Sangamon County, Illinois. A lawsuit filed in Sangamon County last week alleges the Catholic Archdiocese of Springfield enabled and concealed, guess what? Guess what the fuck that they enabled and concealed? The same shit they always enable and conceal. The sexual abuse of an altar boy by a former priest in Taylorville in the 1990s. The lawsuit was filed by Gould Greco and Hensley PLLC on July 22nd, 2026, about a week ago. It alleges that Father John O'Connell, who served at St. Mary's Catholic School and Parish in Taylorville, sexually abused the young boy between 1991 and 1994. O'Connell died in 2002 at the age of 68. So let me first state that this is alleged. These are allegations. But why are there always allegations? If these are supposed to be the most morally upstanding, supernatural, super intelligent, connected people, then how do they keep getting these kinds of allegations happening? How come they keep getting accused of all of this stuff happening? If this is all like just some kind of a scheme to frame a bunch of Catholics, I mean, how is it that this scheme is happening all over the world and billions of dollars are having to be spent? I don't get it. Like, I know people personally who have been abused by the fucking Catholic Church and other churches, by the way. And I don't understand how this shit is par for the course and this shit continues to persist, right? We have these laws, but they are literally giving these fucking weirdos the protection. That's why this shit constantly happens. That's why it has continued to happen to this day. These stories, they range from they've been occurring for decades and honestly centuries. If we're gonna be real, I mean, this shit goes back to Rome, okay, ancient Rome. This has been a custom for the Roman Catholics for a fucking long time, okay. But that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, we find these stories all the time. It doesn't take any work to find these stories because it's so easy. Because they happen all the time. All the time. This shit never ends. That's why I talk about it. Because who else is gonna do that shit? And it's to highlight, even though these stories don't get the views on, say, a YouTube, somebody gotta talk about this shit. Somebody has to talk about this shit. Because it just highlights just the fragmentation and uselessness of their ridiculous belief system. Like, let's check out this story. The story from By Common Consent. The Church, Sexual Abuse, and Insurance. Look at that. That's from Today by Sam Brunson. to be completely transparent, I'm struggling to figure out how to open this blog post. Basically, on Tuesday, the 10th Circuit published an opinion in a lawsuit the church filed. In the background of this lawsuit are allegations of the sexual abuse of minors, though the suit itself has nothing to do with that, which I don't know what, it just trails off or something. He's a tax law professor at the Loyola University Chicago School of Law, so that's around my way. Oh, okay, so this is a continuation down here, which honestly makes the case a little tricky to talk about. I'm hoping here to make understanding and discussing the case a little easier by offering some context and explanation. Background to this case. There's a lot going on here, but the short list of it is this. In 2004, Michael Jensen, then 13, groped 2 classmates. He was charged with 2 felonies, but pled guilty to 2 misdemeanors. A few months later, the family moved to West Virginia. At some point after they moved, his dad was called as a high counselor and his mom as a Relief Society president. His mom offered his services as a babysitter to other ward members. In over 4 years, ending when he was about 20, he sexually abused several of the children he babysat. He was criminally convicted in 2013. Some of his victims sued his parents, other church officials, and of course the church itself. After years of litigation, but before a verdict, the church settled with the plaintiffs. After settling with the plaintiffs, the church went to its insurance companies and asked them to pay for the settlement and costs of litigating. They refused. Praise the fucking Lord, guys. Praise Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that the insurance companies refused that fucking crap. What the fuck? I don't need to go through the rest of this article. Honestly. Like, the fact that churches need this kind of insurance to begin with tells you one thing. It's a fucking fraud. It's a fraud. It's a fraud. I mean, check out this article. Y'all gonna love this shit. Why Trump's strongest Christian supporters reject democratic traditions. Okay. Why do conservative Christians remain loyal to Donald Trump? Examining faith, Christian nationalism, democracy, and the appeal of authoritarian leadership. Why are conservative Christians unshakably loyal to Donald Trump? How is it that the more frequently these believers attend church, the more they support a twice impeached felon convicted of 34 counts of fraud who bragged on Hollywood Access about assaulting women? I mean, after all, Jesus condemned even fantasizing about adultery, so why didn't white evangelicals and Catholics abandon the twice-divorced Trump after 24 women accused him of sexual offenses? A court found him guilty of sexual assault against E. Jean Carroll, and his name showed up thousands of times in the Epstein files. Christ also demanded we love all our neighbors, including the poor, aliens, and enemies. So why is the Christian core of Trump's MAGA base not offended by the torrent of hate and bigotry he spews in every post and rant? Why have these Christians not condemned his demonization and planned detention and deportation? I'll tell you why. Because they're fucking retarded, okay? Christianity is a fraud. Christianity is a fucking fraud. It is untrue. It is simply untrue. It is incorrect. It is inaccurate. There is no clear ideology even in Christianity. That's why they have so many different fucking denominations. That's why Christianity is represented strongly on both sides of the political aisle by both members of both major political parties. 80% of Democrats in Congress, 90% of Republicans in Congress. 2/3 of the population writ large. All kinds of Christians. That's the thing about Christianity that makes it a scam. Because on every single issue, Christians are on every single side, on every single platform, on every single stance. They have every single fucking reason to believe every single crazy thing. And they can't come together and get to the bottom of why they can't fucking get on the same page, despite the fact that they all supposedly speak to the same supernatural, super intelligent, super thing. Because there's nothing super about their super shit. It's just super shit. There's nothing. That's the whole point. See, the Bible is a fucking book of tar talk. It's just a cockamamie set of stories that don't make any fucking sense and don't lead to anything sensible. It's just a bunch of people suffering from various psychological disorders, hearing voices, not taking their medicine, thinking that somebody told them something, that they should go something, and therefore they need to something. That's why there's so much disgusting filth in the Bible that they constantly have to try to make excuses for, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But let's put that to the side. I don't even like talking about the Bible at all. I go straight to the core of the sci-fi fantasy bull crap. Where is the Lord? Where is the sci-fi fantasy supernatural, super intelligent, super thing? Where is Jesus? Where is the Father, the Son, and or the Holy Spirit? What tool are you using? What mechanism are you using to determine that this thing is real, that this thing exists? Is real? Is real? Is real? Is real? I'm still trying to figure it out, because all I see is a bunch of people who are so fucking wedded to their fucking sci-fi fantasy lore that they can't think straight. They think that their fucking crazy, ridiculous ideology is somehow serving some amazing super purpose, when the irony is that their whole entire ideology is one big giant nihilistic fantasy. Because what does their religion actually produce outside of child rape? What do they actually produce? Because, see, these are the type of things that I can show you that they fucking produce. This is why I like to show y'all the shit, so that y'all don't just fucking get blindsided by the facts, by the data, by the information. That's why I like to show y'all this global peace index, right? It's one of the simplest things in the world. It measures the level of peace in each and every country that is officially recognized as a country. So out of 163 countries, they basically rank all the countries based on their level of peace. Number 1 would be the most peaceful. Number 163 would be the least peaceful. Basically, number 163 is a fucking war zone. You don't want to go there because you might get sniped or some shit walking down the street. You might get a drone strike just fucking sitting there listening to music at your crib, right? So you don't want to go there. So, just for instance, number 1 is clearly not the United States of America, because fuck American exceptionalism, am I right? Matter of fact, we're so fucking low, we're not in the top 50. Matter of fact, we're not even in the top 100. Matter of fact, we're damn near at the bottom, peaking at 134 on the Global Peace Index. Out of 163 countries, with 1 being the most peaceful and 163 being the least peaceful, we are among the least peaceful because we fucking suck. Alright, these are the metrics that they use. This is visionofhumanity.org. So if you want to get more of a look, see as to how they determine how they came up with these numbers, you can go to visionofhumanity.org. That's why I shared the screen with you, so that you can see what I am doing, so you can see where I went, so you can see the data. And if you have a problem with the data, don't be mad at me. I'm just a messenger. You know what I'm saying? How could we rank so fucking low if we're the greatest country in the fucking world? I'm still trying to figure that out. If we're such a fucking amazing country, then why are we fucking so goddamn low on the Global Peace Index? Shouldn't we be super duper high on the list? Shouldn't we be at least in the top 100 because we care so fucking much about peace? But see, we live in these fucking Orwellian times where literally, I shit you not, even during the fucking UFC fucking White House fight, they had a fucking ad basically saying war is peace. Cut straight out of a fucking 1984 cartoon. I shit you not. And that might explain why according to the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, it is now 85 seconds to midnight. Basically, what they said is on January 27, 2026, the doomsday clock was set at 85 seconds to midnight, the closest the clock has ever been to midnight in its history. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists Science and Security Board, which sets the clock, called for urgent action to limit nuclear arsenals, create international guidelines on the use of AI, and form multilateral agreements to address global biological threats. And yet they have failed miserably at all fronts, which is why Sam Altman was just talking about how he thinks the singularity happened. He thinks that AI has reached that point of no return or whatever. But the fact of the matter is they can't get a hold on AI safety because there's no clear focus on AI safety, because there's no clear focus on anything. Everything is all about optimizing for money. There's no clear concrete purpose that our society is pushing for, which is why I am the one that's trying to push for us to move to something different, something concrete, something that's clear, something that's direct. Okay, so that's why I like to show y'all what we as a society should be pushing for. Alright? Boom. We should be trying to become what's called a Kardashev Type 1 civilization. A Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale is a society that has mastered all the energy available on its home planet, which is about 10 to the 16th to 10 to the 17th watts. Proposed in 1964 by Soviet astronomer Nikolai Kardashev, this first level represents a fully unified planetary culture. Core features: energy control, harnesses all sunlight, wind, water, geothermal, and internal planetary heat hitting the globe. Power output equivalent to roughly 10 to the 17 watts of total energy consumption. Human status: Earth is currently rated about type 0.73 as we do not yet capture all planetary energy. Expected capabilities: global weather, ability to manage or mitigate major natural events like storms, volcanoes, and earthquakes. Advanced tech: widespread clean energy, nuclear fusion, space-based solar power, and unified global infrastructure. Interplanetary travel: routine travel and colonization within our own solar system. And so here's the thing, right? So these are concrete things that we should be focused on. But at the core of it, at the core of this, the reason why we're pushing for these things is because none of these things can happen if we don't ensure our own collective ability to survive and thrive, which is at the core of the problem of our current society. See, the thing is, there are a bunch of potential existential threats that could literally threaten our way of life or our ability to live as a whole, right? I mean, look at human, not just human, but just life throughout the existence of the planet Earth, right? What is it? Something like 99% of all species to ever exist have gone extinct, right? So many fucking different life forms that existed that we don't have a record for. So, how can we, right now, as we speak, ensure that we as a human race can continue to survive heading into the future if we have data showing us that we're on the verge of self-destruction? Because that's basically what this is saying. That's what this countdown is for. 85 seconds to midnight means that we're on the verge of destroying ourselves because it's getting closer and closer to midnight, and this is the closest it's ever been. And when you juxtapose that with the fact that we're so fucking low on the global peace index, that we're at war with a country with nuclear aims, right? And that we have loonies running the fucking country, that we have loonies running multiple different countries, that we have loonies in all these different leadership positions, wealth positions, policy positions, all this type of shit. We're racing to the bottom. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And the sad part of it is that it doesn't matter how you vote. If everybody votes Democrat right now for every election henceforth, how is that going to move us up on the list? How is that going to move us to the top of the list? How is that going to push us to #1 on the list? Because when Obama was president, he was the only president that was at war the entire time from the start of his first term to the end of his last term. Now, granted, that's not all necessarily his fault, because obviously he inherited a fucking shit show from the previous administration. But the fact of the matter is that all of these horrible things have been occurring since decades ago, when both major parties have had a go of it. They have constantly given and given and given away to the rich, the banks, the corporations, and the churches. Every fucking election cycle, no matter what, no matter which party is in office, no matter which fucking political party is in office, they both love oil companies, they both love banks, they both love being hands-free with the fucking regulation and regulatory policies and all that type of shit. They do such an inadequate job of helping us create a well-functioning society for ourselves. And that's why I am so hell-bent on holding both major parties accountable. Because we as a society need to be having a real clear focus about what we're pushing towards. So instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to vote for this party or that party, let's actually hold these fuckers accountable. Yeah, good God, I know, it's crazy, right? But see, this is the reality that we have to deal with. This is the society that we've ended up in. Because at the end of the day, people are too fucking caught up in being manipulated by every form of fucking propaganda that's out there. I'm talking about both major parties, fucking all the religions, all these ideologies, these cults of personalities, these fucking charlatans out here, these scam artists, these liars. It's so crazy to me how people always fall for the same old bullshit. But then when it comes to showing them facts, they will reject it when you show it to them, to their face. I show people this type of shit all the fucking time. They will sit here and tell me every reason why this is bullshit, but then they'll produce nothing else that's better, that somehow improves the state of the society, that helps us to actually talk about how we can do better. If you got a better idea, I'm all ears. I want to hear what you have to say. But if you don't have anything of value to add, then what are we talking about? That's why I challenge theists at all times to show us whatever it is that you're talking about, to show us that you have a better way, that you have a clear path to a better future, whatever that is. But they never have anything of substance. They never have anything of value to add, which is why they never have anything. That's why I get on here and I'm so direct and I'm so crass and I'm so rude. I'm so straight to the point. Where the fuck is the Lord? Where's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit right the fuck now? If it is so real, where is it right now? I don't want to hear any bullshit excuses. I don't want to hear any others. Oh, how can you tell the spiritual is in the physical? Well, because if it's real, then you have to have some method to be able to demonstrate. I don't give a fuck what it is. If you're gonna tell me right now that there's some spiritual miracle, whatever, show us right now. Show us the spiritual crap that you talking about. Otherwise, what the hell are you talking about? I have no problem being rude and disrespectful, because what reason is there to respect this crazy shit? Why should I respect an ideology that protects rapists? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why should I respect an ideology that works directly to protect rapists and has no clear end goal? No clear-cut, concrete goal at the end of it other than serving the Lord, but you can't show us the Lord right now. All those trillions of dollars you got, all these billions of people that are members in your fucking sci-fi fantasy fan club, all these hundreds of millions of your sci-fi fantasy fan club here in America, and not a single one of you can show us the sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit to actually be science reality? Otherwise, what the hell are y'all talking about? This is why the scientific method is so fucking important. That's why it's our greatest tool that we've ever developed as a human race in the history of humanity. The scientific method. Because with the scientific method, we can actually experiment and really inspect the substrate of reality, where we can go down to the Planck length of all the way up to the cosmological scale, so we can determine what the fuck. Just like how Nas said on If I Ruled the World, you better find out before your time's out what the... Well, that's what I'm aimed to do. That's what OD9 is all about. We're aimed to find out before our time's out what the fuck. That's why I asked, what are we doing? We have to figure out what the fuck we are doing. And I posit, as I stated earlier, that we should be pushing towards becoming a Kardashev Type 1 civilization. Okay, so here's what that means, right? just imagine aliens, right? People always talk about the aliens, all the aliens. What if we got fucking invaded by aliens? What if all these weird fucking light things we see in the sky? Oh, there's gotta be an alien spaceship. If aliens existed for real, and they had these capabilities where they could travel to other planets and shit, basically, that would mean that they would have become way more advanced than we are right now. But see, here's the problem with that idea, with that concept. It's this thing called the Fermi paradox, okay? And this is why I like to fucking always talk about, because this is why I do what I do at the fucking, at the end of the day. This is why I get on these lives. This is why I've been on different platforms to talk about this shit. Okay, so check it out. The Fermi paradox is the striking contradiction between the high statistical likelihood that extraterrestrial civilizations exist and the total lack of evidence for contact with them. Named after physicist Enrico Fermi, who famously asked, "Where is everybody?" in 1950, the paradox highlights why our silent sky is so puzzling. Originated during a casual lunchtime conversation at Los Alamos National Laboratory. The Milky Way contains roughly 100 to 400 billion stars, many older than our sun with Earth-like planets. Even slow interstellar travel could colonize a galaxy in a few million years, a blink in cosmic time. And that doesn't even count the fact that there are literally billions of galaxies in the universe, each with their own 100 to 400 billion fucking stars, with fucking all kinds of fucking planets that exist in the habitable zone of their respective stars. So even a small, tiny minority of these fucking planets and stars and galaxies would still be some crazy astronomical number of supposed intelligent civilizations like ours that should exist, that we should be able to hypothetically, theoretically detect with our currently available technology, right? We see all these weird phenomena, all these weird lights in the sky. We're like, oh my God, those are aliens. But one would think that we would have concrete proof that aliens exist, that we would be able to see some fucking civilization out there somewhere, that we'd be able to see, oh shit, they got the fucking colony moving out there. Look, they're building. We'd be able to see some kind of megastructure. We'd be able to see some kind of something that clearly isn't naturally occurring. Something that clearly signals some smoking gun evidence of some intelligent civilization out there. But we haven't found anything yet. Nothing concrete. Of course, there's all these people that want to say, "Oh, the government's hiding." No. If these civilizations existed, nobody would be able to hide it, because you could use your own fucking telescope and just look and see. Oh shit, there they are, the fucking Spellelians. The Spellelians are building the fucking super duper spaceships again. Wow, I can't wait till we contact with them. But we don't see that shit. So the question is, why don't we see that shit? Why don't we see clear-cut, concrete examples of intelligent alien civilizations out there? This is the core of the Fermi paradox. One of the potential solutions of the Fermi paradox that we're hyper-focused on is what's called the Great Filter Hypothesis. The Great Filter Hypothesis. What is that? What is the Great Filter Hypothesis? Check it out. The Great Filter Theory is a proposed explanation for the Fermi paradox, suggesting that a massive developmental or environmental barrier stops intelligent life from expanding across the universe. This barrier explains why we see no signs of alien civilizations. It implies that reaching spacefaring status requires passing an extremely rare or deadly milestone, the evolutionary staircase. The path from dead chemicals to a space colonizing civilization can be viewed as a series of steps. Right star system and habitable zone. Emergence of simple life, abiogenesis. Simple single cell life to complex cells, eukaryotes. Multicellular life and sexual reproduction. Tool using intelligent life and advanced technology in space colonization. The two options, past or future. The core question of the theory is where the filter sits on this timeline. Either the filter is behind us or it's ahead of us. In other words, If the barrier is in our past, it means the origin of life or the jump to complex intelligence is so difficult that we beat astronomical odds. Under this view, finding even simple fossilized microbial life on Mars would be bad news because it proves the early steps are easy, pushing the filter ahead of us. So if the filter is ahead of us, then if the most civilizations evolve to our level but inevitably self-destruct or hit a wall before mastering interstellar travel. So that means that we have to talk about what the potential filters are. Nuclear war or global weapons of mass destruction. This is referred to as MAD, mutually assured destruction. Climate change or natural planetary resource depletion. Uncontrolled artificial superintelligence or rogue nanotechnology. And then there's others like, a fucking bioweapon, a plague that wipes out society, a fucking solar flare that disrupts our technology, super volcanic eruptions, all types of things that could make life very, very difficult, if not impossible for us. So my fear is not any particular one of these. It's all of these, but under the guise of one new great filter scenario that I propose. I call it the eschatological great filter scenario. The eschatological great filter scenario. So I know a lot of y'all might be like, what the fuck are you talking about? The eschatological great filter scenario. So what is eschatology? Let's look it up. Eschatology.
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 Eschatology. Eschatology is the branch of theology and philosophy concerned with the last things, specifically death, the end of time, and the ultimate destiny of humankind in the universe. So, as you can see, a lot of religions, particularly fucking Christianity, are hyper-focused on the end of the world, hyper-focused on the revelations, hyper-focused on the what do they call it? The rapture. All that type of crazy shit. So it focuses on personal mortality, the state of the soul after death, and individual judgment. Cosmic outcome. It examines large-scale events like the end of the world, resurrection of the dead, and the new creation, divine justice. It addresses how his higher power resolves suffering and brings justice to history. The Abrahamic faiths, obviously, right? They focus heavily on prophetic history, a physical or spiritual return of a messianic figure, a final day of judgment, and eternal states like heaven or hell. The only problem is, all that shit is a bunch of fucking tart talk. A bunch of fucking tart talk. But see, here's the problem. So this is what eschatology is. So the eschatological great filter scenario is the idea that we have a society that's so hyper-focused on eschatology that it basically renders them nihilistic. It makes them completely complacent to the point where they accept these suboptimal conditions of our reality, where they accept whatever possibly happens regarding any of these potential great filter scenarios, and thus they render us susceptible to all great filter scenarios, and that is a major problem that I can't stand for. This is why I am so anti-theistic. This is why I am so fucking crass and rude, because what is the purpose of investing in theology? What's the purpose of investing in religion if it doesn't do anything to even try to fucking shore up any of these things at all? When their whole idea is salvation, but they're not talking about salvation from these fucking potential great filter scenarios. When they're not talking about salvation from any of these fucking disastrous scenarios that can fuck over the human race and the American society. When they're like, no, it's cool. If we blow up the fucking world, well, at least we're going to super duper, super happy, super go lucky, super place where we can be with the super duper, supernatural intelligence super thing so that we can be super duper, super duper bitch ass sips for this psycho. What's the point of that? All these people that want to go to heaven, why wouldn't you want heaven on earth right now while we are alive. Why would you want to live in a society where people are suffering, and despite the resources available to shore up that suffering, they just decide not to do it because they believe some retarded ass sci-fi fantasy bullshit that can't be demonstrated to be true right now at all? This is why I push so hard against it, because they extract so many resources from our society. They have all these billions and trillions of fucking dollars. They have all this representation in government, and this is the best they can fucking do. They have all these people. They have all these resources. They have all this hyper representation, and this is the best that they can do. To such a degree that you literally have the bitch ass Pope crying about AI, even though he has the Lord. If he has the Lord, then why is he so afraid of AI? That's why I asked this question in one of my most recent videos. You should check it out. What's the point of AI? I should say, what's the point of religion if it's afraid of AI? If y'all have the super intelligence, then what the fuck is Claude? What the hell is fucking Gemini? What is OpenAI to the Lord, right? Except y'all know damn well you ain't got the Lord nowhere. That's why we get on here and ask y'all every single fucking day, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Every single day, where is it? If it is real and it is so true and it's so wonderful, show us right now. And then we could actually have a direct conference call with this fucker, right? You can call in, right? It could go to fucking off-the9.com/call in, and the Lord can have a conversation with us, with me. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of people, and we could get to the bottom of why the fuck it would allow these weirdos to rape children in its name, and why you would defend this behavior instead of recognizing that this is not helpful to society at all. Alright? So at the end of the day, if you're a reasonable person, come through, right? Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on the notifications, hit that follow, join the motherfucking Discord, because this is ground zero for how we're going to change the world, okay? We're going to have our first game night tomorrow. So come through and have fun. We're going to be fucking having all kinds of fun. And we're going to fucking build our fucking community. And we're going to build our ability to change the world one day at a time. So I'm about to get off here. Yeah, so stay smooth. Knock it off with the tart talk. Knock it off with the sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit. Jesus is not going to get us to a Kardashev Type 1 civilization. Only the scientific method will. And we can do it together, working interdependently with synergy if you decide to come through. And we can make it happen together. But as long as you keep voting Democrat or Republican, it's never going to fucking happen. I don't care what the fuck you think. Like I said, Democrats can win every election from here on in. They're never going to push for a Kardashev Type 1 civilization at all. They don't talk about it ever, so they would never talk about it because you're too stupid to force them to talk about it. So why would they do it? Anywho, holla back at your boy. Enjoy your weekend. If I don't see you Sunday, we're going to have Senseless Sundays. So holla back at your motherfucking boy, man. Peace the fuck out. Deuces.